Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're all safe and well. Today is, what's the date today? It's Saturday the 25th of November, 2023, and I hope you've all been safe and well over the last few days. Today I just want to go over a couple of messages I've found online from people. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Mark. I am a former gambling addict, and I basically have made a decision to put some videos online to hopefully enable people who are going through the pain and everything of gambling addiction to be able to find some identification through the videos that I put up, because I know myself, when I was coming to the point of needing help and wanting to stop, I couldn't really find anywhere or anything, and the first thing I did was look online and look on YouTube, and I couldn't find anything. So the purpose of me doing these videos is, if you're struggling to find any identification, I'm hoping that these videos will be of some help to you. So basically, I'm just going to read this post. It's to do with relapse. Something, if we're gambling addicts, that we will be familiar with. So it's entitled Another Session, and the author goes, so last weekend's trigger, I'll talk about that in a minute, was a hangover, and I know how I now know I need to be careful of that. Another big loss. I do feel like crap, as no matter how many times or places I self-exclude, there's always a new one ready to rob you. Maybe this will be the last time. Who knows? I sure hope so. It's really sad, because you can see that the person who has written this really is motivated to want to stop. My experience is that there's no such thing as triggers. Anything can trigger us, whether we're feeling happy, whether we're feeling sad, whether we've got money, whether we've got no money, whether we feel loved, whether we don't feel loved, whether we're drunk, whether we're sober, whether it's sunny, whether it's raining, whether we're tired, whether we're wide awake when we get up in the morning. Triggers, just my experience is triggers don't come into it, because half the time I'm not even aware of what I'm feeling when my mind used to go click like that, and then I'd be banging on the table thinking, how the fuck did I do this again? But you would always try and look. I would always try and look for a reason, but there was never any reason. It was like I could make excuses. I could make plenty of excuses, but it just didn't make sense, given my experience over many years. It didn't make sense for me doing it when I didn't want to do it. So what the thing was, why was I continuing to do something that I didn't want to do, that I desperately didn't want to do, that I desperately wanted to break free from, that I knew that I shouldn't do, that I knew that I couldn't do it, but I still did it anyway. So why was that happening? And this here, it's no matter how many times I say I stop, how many times I've developed the determination to stop, or how many places I self-exclude from. The person's saying here, there's always a new online casino ready to rob you. So basically what they're saying there is there's always a way to find, there's always a way, I'll always find a way to gamble. Yet they've self-excluded previously, so self-exclusion suggests that the person has had enough and they want to stop. They're trying to put something in place, but like I've said in previous videos, with a gambling addict, we're not necessarily conscious of what's taking place. Now we can have a strong determination not to gamble, but at a certain time, that determination can't be relied upon to prevent us from gambling again. So we aren't able to identify when that's going to happen. I mean, if you look at your own experience, if you've gone back to gambling time and time and time again, can you identify when you're going to gamble again? You might say, I'm not going to gamble again. But if you're not going to, if you've said I'm not going to gamble again, why have you gambled again? Why haven't you been able to bring to mind all that pain and misery that often comes with gambling? The shame, the guilt, the remorse, the devastation of walking away from a machine, or emptying your bank account again, having no food or electricity, or using the rent money, or stealing, or doing whatever to gamble. Why? Where does all that strong feeling of revulsion for gambling go? Why can't it be at the forefront of our mind all of the time in order to prevent us from doing it? Because it can't. At certain times, what happens to us, if you think about it and really think about it, what happens at certain times is we can't in our mind bring that to force with sufficient, bring that to the front of our mind with sufficient force to stop us doing it. It's just not there. That information and that experience and those emotions and those feelings can't be relied upon to stop us, because at the time that we need them, a lot of the time they're not there. We can't rely upon that alone. It says maybe this time will be the last time. Who knows? I sure hope so. So this person has said that they don't want to go back to gambling, and have said that a lot of times, but seem to be going back. And this is what is meant. And I keep saying these in videos. This is what is meant in the Gamblers Anonymous first step, that we admitted we were powerless over gambling, and that our lives had become unmanageable. When we say we admitted we were powerless, it means we are powerless to stop ourselves from going back to gambling, which makes our life completely unmanageable. We are powerless to stop at certain times our mind breaking down and not allowing us to bring to the forefront all of that information that we need in order to stop ourselves. Now, I've said this in previous videos as well. When I was 15, when I was 16, I got some pocket money and I bought 2 bottles of sherry. 16, experimenting, getting drunk with your mates, you know what I mean, at 16. And I drank 2 bottles of sherry, and I was violently ill for days, violently ill. And I said to myself, I am never going to drink sherry again. I will never do that again. I never in my life do I want to experience that again. That's what I said at 16. Now, I'm nearly 50 now, and I have never, ever drank sherry from that day to this. Because whenever I see sherry, whenever I smell sherry, always the memory of the misery and hangover and sickness and bloody awfulness of that experience that I had with sherry always comes to mind. I can even walk down the drinks aisle in the supermarket, see a bottle of sherry, and feel sick. You know, that's a normal response. That is a normal mental cognitive response to what an experience that was pretty traumatic. It was bloody awful. So that's the normal way the mind reacts. Now, when we think about that with gambling, the trauma, the misery, the humiliation, the suffering, not only of ourselves but our families, our partners, losing jobs, this, that, and the other. That information should be enough to bring into our mind to prevent us from going back to it, but it doesn't work. The mind, when it comes to gambling, doesn't function correctly in the mind of a gambling addict, and that is why we're powerless. That is why we keep going back time and time and time, and we will always go back time and time and time again if we don't get some power. So the second step, we came to believe a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Well, what does that mean? It just means, am I willing to believe that something other than me, my thinking, can protect me from returning to gambling? Well, if I can't protect myself, then there better be something else that can protect me. There hopefully should be something else to be able to do it. And then we look at the steps, and it's like, okay, well, people who've gone through the steps seem to have managed to transform their lives and living decent lives, gambling free. So the third step is we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God, or a higher power that we understood it as we understood it. So with this third step is all we're essentially doing is making a decision to work the rest of the 12-step program. We make a decision and we act on that decision by starting an inventory process in the fourth step. So the 12 steps are a program of action. The first 3 steps are just information, and then you make a decision in the third, and then you act out on that decision in the fourth step. So I only know a little bit about the steps. I mean, I'm not an expert by any means. But what I would suggest, like I suggest in every video, and I keep saying it, is I would advise anybody to attend struggling with gambling, to attend a GA meeting, to try and find somebody who's gone through the 12-step program, and ask them to sit down with you and teach you how to incorporate those 12 steps within your life. So the thing is, if the 12 steps are a proven program to help overcome gambling addiction, why wouldn't we want to do it? Why wouldn't we want to do it? One of the reasons is our pride. Pride can kill us, and pride is what keeps us locked into our misery. But there is a way out. There is a way out. 12 steps can guide us to a place in life where we essentially are quite content with life. And I know that sounds, if you're in the midst of gambling addiction, that sounds far-fetched. But what I would suggest is, if you do the 12 steps, find somebody who can take you through them and show you how they work, and start integrating those things within your life. You'll find out for yourself whether they work or not. Why shouldn't they work for you? You know, if you're I was told, if you're a hopeless case, these steps are designed specifically for you. If you're just having if you're worried about the amount you're gambling and are losing control over the amount you're gambling, these steps are for you. They're for everybody who has difficulty with gambling addiction. And the great thing about them is they're free and they work. All we have to do is just go through a process to find that solution, which is learning to identify with a power greater than ourselves, and then sharing our experience with other people. So I don't know whether this video has been any good to anybody, but please leave a message in the comments, and like and subscribe and all that jazz. I do appreciate all the people who've left comments, and I'm glad that people are finding these videos useful. I'm finding these videos useful as well. Me discussing this stuff with you is benefiting me as well. So it's a mutual relationship that's happening here. You benefit from it, and I benefit from it too, which is amazing. So take care. I'm going to get something to eat and get ready for work, and I wish you all the best, and I'll do another video in a couple of days. Take care now. Bye bye.